Hello, welcome to my live. Please, if you can hear me, just hello, welcome to my live. Hello, can you hear me? Um, if you can hear me. Hello, fine girl. How are you? Can you? I want to know if you can hear. Let me know if you can hear me. Oh, hello. Can you hear me? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. So, can I know where you are seeing this live? Oh, you can hear me. Thank you. So in this live, I'll be talking about introduction to raising art. I don't know if you know anything about raising art. Have you heard about raising art before? I want to know if you know anything about raising art. Have you heard about raising art before? Before now? Have you heard about raising art before? Yes. Okay. So let's just say you're not new to raising art. Okay, that's very nice. So where are you watching from? Alright, that's why I'm hosting this class now. I will explain more about raising arts. Where are you watching from? Anambra. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining my live. Welcome to my live. So I'll be talking about raising arts. Let me just say that this is the introduction to raising arts class. Yes. So what is raising? Say that raising is, sorry, I'm coming. Okay. Raising arts is a chemical. I don't know if it's my network. Sorry, can you hear me? I just want to make sure that my network is okay. Can you hear me, please? Let me know if you can hear me. I want to know if my network is okay. My network, okay. Thank you. Just hope this network is no. Okay, we say that raising art is the process of using liquid resin to create solid and durable art pieces. Raising art is just like any other art but in a liquid form. That's what raising art is all about. It's an art but in a liquid form. So when we talk about resin, we have types of resin. We have epoxy resin and we have the UV resin. So this is epoxy resin. This is epoxy resin and this is a UV resin. If you have any question, you can still just drop it on the comments. Thank you. This is resin. This is UV resin. This epoxy epoxy, 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 and UV resin. So what is the difference between this epoxy resin and UV resin? So in epoxy resin comes in two bottles like this. This is also an epoxy resin. It comes in A and B. Epoxy resin has part A and part B. This is the resin. Part A is always the resin and part B is the hardener. So for you to use epoxy resin, you must use the two of them together. You cannot use only resin or use only hardener. You must use the two of them together. So this one is epoxy resin. Then for UV resin comes in just one bottle like this. UV resin doesn't, just one bottle like this, doesn't require any mixing with any other thing. Just comes in one bottle like this. So that's one difference between epoxy resin and UV resin. Okay, that's I think the second one. Yes. Then another difference between this epoxy resin and UV resin is that epoxy resin is used for larger projects like trays and bookmarks, notebooks and all that. But for UV resin, you can use it to make your just small projects like jewelries, necklace. You can also use it for your keychains. Yes, that's another difference between epoxy resin and UV resin. And under, now I'll be talking about different ratios in epoxy resin. Epoxy resin has three different ratios. We have ratio 1:1. This one is ratio 1:1. Ratio, where it's written here, ratio 1:1. This is its ratio 1:1. Why this one is ratio 2:1? Look at it here, ratio 2:1. And we also have ratio 3:1, but that one, I don't have that one at the moment. But we have ratio 1 is we have ratio 1:1 and we have ratio 2:1, then ratio 3:1. Yes, that's the three different epoxy resin ratios we have. So now I'll be talking about ratio 1:1. I don't know if we are following. Are we understanding what I'm saying so far? Are we following? Just want to know if my network is still here with me. If you can hear me, just comment that you can hear me so I will know I'm not talking to myself. Can you hear me? Okay. So I don't know if you have any questions so far. Hello, welcome to my live. We are talking about introduction to resin art, what resin art is all about. That's what we are talking about today. So if you have any question, just drop it and I will reply. We are talking about introduction to resin art. So moving forward, I said that we have three different types of epoxy resin ratio. We have ratio 1:1, we have ratio 2:1, and we have ratio 3:1. So now I'll be talking about ratio 1:1. This is ratio 1:1. It also comes in different sizes. You can get the smaller one or a bigger size. I think this one is just 500 ml. This one is just 500 ml. So like I said before, for you to use epoxy resin, you need both the resin and hardener. You cannot use only the resin alone, and you cannot use only the hardener alone. So for you to use epoxy resin, you have to use two of them together. Resin art. Resin art. We are talking about resin art. A-R-T, resin art. Do you understand what I said? I said we are talking about resin art. Do you understand me? Let me know if you have any other question. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So moving forward, we are talking about ratio 1:1. So how do you know? So like I said, you can still get in a bigger container or a smaller container. So I'll be talking about how to measure your ratio 1:1, because your measurement is the main thing in resin. Once you don't get your measurements correctly, then your project will always be a waste. So I'm moving to the most important part in resin art now, and that is measurement. So I'll be talking about how to measure your resin. I'll be talking about the ratio 1:1 and 2:1. So for you to measure your resin, you will need your measuring cup. You need your measuring cup. You can see, I don't know if we can see the numbers here. This is what you use to measure your resin, or you can also use a measuring scale. You can use a measuring scale to measure your resin too, or your measuring cup. That's what we use to measure resin. So now I'll be talking about ratio 1:1. So for you to measure ratio 1:1, what this 1:1 means is that the quantity of your resin and your hardener must be equal. If you are using ratio 1:1, it means that your resin and your hardener must be equal. They will be of equal amount. You cannot measure 10 for this one and measure 5 for this one. No. If you are using 10 ml for your resin, then you use your 10 ml for your hardener. The resin is always the part A. You can see A written here, and the hardener is it's always the B. Yes. So for you to use ratio 1:1, the two of them must be equal amount. That is what you will use for the two of them. That is for ratio 1:1. I don't know if we are understanding what I'm saying. I would like to know if you have any question, if we are understanding.